That's really good thinking, bro.
Yeah. Okay, yeah. Here we go. The million of the story.
Welcome to the All Ground Pod. 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 Yeah, welcome to the All Ground Pod. Yeah, it's episode 7. We're at episode 7. Yeah, it's about to be episode 8. Yeah, that was a goal and now we killed it.
There's no right in there.
Don't care.
All right.
Okay, how do we change that? Okay.
Oh,
Okay.
wow.
That was the perfect intro, I think.
I think we found our
Yeah, I think every time we start the podcast, it should just be us freestyling.
No, I think we should just take that, cut it, and put it into the beginning of every podcast.
Let us know in the comments.
Episode 6, episode 7. Now we're about to be on episode 8. Not a single rhyme.
It's like, it's like
100th episode.
the song Friday by Rebecca Black. It's very similar to that.
Yeah.
Dude, that was awesome.
Yeah.
Okay. A
And
lot.
We're live.
Go ahead. Yeah, we're live. A lot. I feel like a lot has happened since.
Hold on, you're definitely echoing.
Okay, yeah. Maybe I'm too loud.
Maybe I think you're too loud.
Am I green, Ty? Yeah, I think I'm green. Yeah. Okay. How's that? How's that?
This.
Oh, okay. Oh, that's my headphones. Okay.
Yeah.
How does that sound?
It sounds
Better?
pretty good.
Okay.
Yeah, I think that sounds good.
I was gonna say there's a lot has happened since. First of all, you and I got together for a podcast.
Yeah.
Specifically, you did a podcast with Lola
I
that
did.
we haven't released yet, but we're going to release very soon. And then this one will come shortly after.
Because you got a sweet new laptop.
Yeah. Let's talk about that. Temp Ty or Papa Ty, I guess in this case, took care of us big time, and we're doing a little deal, a little finance deal through Papa Ty, and we are gonna. I got the MacBook Pro M4 chip, and if you don't know, look it up. The thing is next level. So now, basically, I have no excuses. Ty and I talked about this as we were leaving the Apple store. There will be no excuses for me.
Is there a boji here?
That's definitely a boji.
Yeah.
There will be no excuses for me to not have video content going on our YouTube, whether it's the pod or my own. And at the same time, if I ever let the story run dry, I owe Ty $10.
I think that's a fair deal.
$10.
Yeah, or 3 hard kicks to the ass.
It's his choice.
Oh, I would rather pay $10. I'm not gonna lie. 3 hard kicks to the ass sucks.
Yeah, well,
Yeah.
I would rather get 3 hard kicks to the ass for the experience.
So then all you have to do is let the story run dry, and you get 3 hard kicks to the
Well,
ass.
I'm not going to purposely let it, but if it ever does happen, I'm just going to say, hey, Ty, kick my ass as hard as you can 3 times.
And this will literally be the only way I could ever kick your ass.
Yeah. Nice.
When you
And
let
it's
me.
quite literally. Boji, make sure that guy doesn't run around here.
Is Tina here?
Nope, not yet.
Oh, okay. Boji's just been outside.
Okay. Yeah, well, Burger's outside, so.
Okay, cool. Alrighty. Well,
But
that's
yeah,
cool.
yeah, yeah.
That's
So
good.
that's
Yeah.
the goal.
Accountability, man.
Yeah, accountability.
And nothing keeps you more accountable than getting kicked in the ass if you don't do what you're supposed to do.
But like we said, or like I was saying, the reason we haven't been or I haven't been putting out a bunch of my own YouTube content is because our what is it, MacBook? No, it's just.
It doesn't even
you had
matter.
an iMac.
Yeah, an iMac is.
It doesn't even matter. Now you
That
got
thing
a
is
new
shit.
laptop. You're ready to rock. You've got everything you need to succeed.
Yeah.
And so now
As you guys can tell, Elias is trying to get through this conversation as fast as possible.
It's like, yada, yada,
It
yada.
doesn't
let's
even
move
matter.
on.
Anyway, you got a new MacBook Pro, so you're going to do editing videos. Okay, let's go.
Cool.
Well, on to the next subject. Yeah, we got an hour to talk.
just
And we
wondering.
are officially 6 minutes in, and Elias is already bored.
Actually, we're only about a minute in because we were recording for about 5 minutes.
That's right.
Yeah, just
Yeah.
Well, we're as far in as we want to be because, there's the magic of editing. So.
For the people listening, we're probably about a minute in.
yeah.
Okay.
After they got to hear that sick track in the beginning.
At this point, they're like, God, it feels like it's been like an hour.
Yeah.
I think that's good. I'm good. That's my commute to work. I'm done.
Yeah. Anyway, I'd love to chat about just what happened kind of in that time. You know, that we didn't get together because you did a podcast with Lola. How was that?
It was awesome. A little, I don't know, for some reason, a little nerve-wracking for me because I think just with how much media you and I do together between social media and now the podcast and just obviously talking to each other every single day, teaching and being on a similar schedule, I feel like our conversations it just flows really easily and being in front of a mic with you is easy. Being on camera with you is easy.
Yeah.
It turns out Elias can't talk to women, even his sister. So it's a problem.
Yeah, but he is good on cam with me. We got lots of practice. But
It's okay. Ruby loves me. That's all that matters.
but yeah, how did you introduce Lola? You're just like, this is Lola. She's my sister.
I actually
Did you
didn't
get,
tell
like, a
anyone she was my
championship,
sister.
Never said that.
No, I'm just joking. No,
We just have this random girl on here.
yeah, it's just super ambiguous. No one knows.
Yeah.
No, we just talked about. I mean, I feel like some of the coolest things we talked about was like what it was like for her to grow up with like two brothers in martial arts, and if she felt
Yeah.
the pressure to do that, and then her journey in martial arts,
Yeah.
and how it's evolved over time, and then we obviously talked about the band, being in that together, and I mean, Lola, like she just sort of rises to the occasion and can easily. Talk and perform and entertain.
Yeah.
She's so natural at it. So
one thing that Lola has always been good at is just stepping up to the plate and shining. I feel like when she gets put on any sort of sort of pressure scenario, she just does it and kills it.
Yeah,
specifically music. Like she's always been like that, even when she was young, and she wasn't necessarily like getting voice lessons, and she still hasn't accessed that, which is crazy because her voice is so powerful and her singing is so good, but she just kind of has always been like that. She's gotten in front of our family random times and just belted just songs, plays, like skits, no shame, just full on, I'm going for it, putting everything into it. And she's always been like that.
Yeah,
It's hard to do. It's hard to just put your heart out there.
Yeah. I mean, I'm just now starting to be able to do that more and more. When we did the karaoke night, a few years ago, I would have been so scared shitless to do that. But now I'm like, I don't care.
Yeah.
What? I'm just going to sing loud and bad in front of my friends and some people that maybe aren't as close to me. And who cares?
Yeah.
It really doesn't matter. It doesn't have any effect on your life. Are there?
It only has positive effects, actually.
Yeah, actually. That's unless someone were to go home and just think, wow, Laird sucked sucks at karaoke. I never want to hear that guy again.
Yeah.
Or somebody made a really bad meme of you singing and just it became viral and you just walk down the street and you're like, hey, you're that guy that sucks at singing.
Oh, imagine the two things I'm known for is just jerking off on Papa Giorgio.
Oh God.
Let's clarify that though. Let's
no
clarify
context at all.
that. And being a bad singer. But let's clarify that.
A little bit more information.
Yeah.
That
Yeah,
would
it's
be helpful.
So, if you want to know more about that, go look up my third professional fight
Yeah.
and watch till the end, and then you'll see what happens. And if you don't want to look it up, you can just clip that audio and make it as weird as you want. But basically, I got into it with my opponent and ended up giving the suck my nuts gesture at the end of the fight.
Yeah.
And the first I came over to the corner and Elias was like, "What did you just do?" And I was like, "What do you mean?" He's like, "Did you just jerk off at him?" And I was like, "No, I was referencing him to suck my nuts." I was like, it was more like I guess to everyone it looked like I was just
Yeah, it really did
giving
look
the
like
business to him.
Yeah.
But it's funny because some of the comments on Instagram, one person commented a positive thing. He was like the beatdown master. He was
beatdown.
and then some
Somebody else
guy
like the beat off master.
Yeah, literally. Someone commented back at him, and they were more like the beat off master. It was pretty funny.
Yeah.
That was a weird night because like super, obviously like the dopamine levels were through the roof, just super ecstatic. But then just going through the comments that night, that was my first time like dealing with hate. I guess.
Yeah.
You being
like
a bad guy.
I was getting booed out.
Laird was the
you know?
heel for sure.
I was getting booed out, and then I got a bunch of hate comments on Instagram, and
It didn't help
you know.
that he was fighting the hometown guy too, so
yeah,
it was just
that
it was
hurts.
really bad for Laird. The whole crowd was booing him.
yeah,
People were super pissed.
My favorite part of that story, though, is like when you guys went to the back and had to give your medical checks.
yeah.
That's so fun.
Yeah, so I mean, after the fight, we both have to go into the back, and we get checked by the medical staff there.
Yeah.
Right after, and we're both sitting in the same room, and I apologize to him and his team, and I'm just like, hey, look, I'm sorry, like my emotions got high. That like I typically wouldn't do that. Like I respect you for getting in there. Like respect to your team. Like thank you for taking the fight because he was a short notice opponent, so I could have potentially not been fighting on that card.
Yeah.
Thankfully, he stepped in and gave me the opportunity to fight in Chicago, which was awesome. So yeah, I gave him a thank you, and he said like, oh, if I catch you later, let's grab a beer. So I was like, yeah, sure. Never caught him later, but on my next, like once they announced my next fight, he was talking shit in the comments, and I was like, what? I thought we squashed the beef.
It's all good because it just, that like drama. People love drama.
People love
I
drama.
mean, we had this whole
Yeah.
conversation about provocative, gets the people going.
yeah.
The drama's always good.
Yeah,
There's no
yeah.
bad drama. Really.
Well,
Yeah, it was funny to-
Step Brothers.
Absolutely. Everybody knows that. Everybody knows.
It was funny to get back and see like which of our friends were like, dude, I like this Laird.
Well,
I like this Laird.
That's what I was
The
about
controversial Laird.
to say. Yeah.
And I was like, man, that is funny. Because I was kind of pissed at Laird. I was like, dude, what? And the motion, I was like,
Yeah.
not
Elias
yeah.
was definitely.
You're like, that was weird. What are you doing?
Just the big brother like came out
Instinct.
in me. Yeah.
Yeah.
I was like, come on, man.
Yeah. And he was like, why did you do that? And, but yeah, I had like a couple of my friends. I think Brady Rivera called me, and I was like, of course. And Brady was like, fucking lean into it. Lean into it.
lean
Be
in-
the heel,
yeah,
buddy.
be
Be
the
the heel.
bad guy.
Yeah. And for my next fight, of course, they clipped that part. Like when they were highlighting us both coming in, they clipped the part of me being an asshole,
Yeah.
Because I'm sure Bellator took that and they were like, we got a lot of views on this.
Yeah.
I think people want this. Let's
Yeah.
let's try to lean into it a little bit. But I just didn't take the bait. And
Yeah.
plus my opponent, Rogelio, was just so nice. Such a nice guy.
Yeah, oh, okay. Yeah. You're talking about your next fight.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
First of all, did you say Rogelio?
That's what it was, Rogelio.
Really?
It was- yeah, yeah.
He called himself that?
That's what they announced him as, right? Rogelio Luna.
Rogelio.
Oh,
Rogelio.
did they say Okay. That's my bad.
Well, I mean, you've got like the Russian names. You're good with those, but
Yeah.
the Latin
Yeah,
names,
yeah,
not so
the Latin.
much. Yeah.
But yeah,
Yeah.
what
that
a
was
night.
that was a stark difference for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Kind of unexpected too.
Like
mean,
his
from his-
reactions or
No, just the way he was during the whole event.
oh yeah.
Based on his appearance,
Yeah.
you would maybe
And his
think that
past
he was
fights, like he just
Yeah.
he
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 seemed
kind
like,
of looked mean.
Yeah,
but he was
yeah, yeah.
actually
He
like
looked
the
a little-
nicest guy.
the
Yeah.
nicest guy. Him and his team, just so nice. Yeah, I was super grateful for that. We actually had a couple conversations afterwards. I ran into his uncle, and his uncle was telling me, "Why didn't you strike with my boy? I'm telling you." And I was like, "I'm sorry. It's just not how the fight game goes."
yeah.
And I did strike with him a little bit.
Yeah, a little bit.
know,
I
and then
think you
took him
won
down.
the striking.
Yeah, I
for
think
sure.
I had. But yeah, his team gave, right after the fight, he was up. His team came over to me. We embraced, and they gave me like a prayer all together, at the end of the fight while we were still in the cage. So yeah, it was super
It
cool.
was cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's emotional too.
Mhm.
You put so much emotion and time into a camp, and you think about how much you sacrifice. And even at the beginning, like these guys are not getting paid as much as they deserve for how
Yeah.
much work they're putting in. And it's cool to see guys like that and a team like that with so much humility and also care for the opponent.
Yeah.
It's just like it's emotional when things like that happen. And I think that was like, a big shift from the last fight. And even your demeanor coming in, I kept thinking like this guy is like composed. Like composure was like the word that came to mind. Like from the preparation, right, to how you were on the pads, like before how you were doing how you were warming up. Like everything just seemed composed. We had a tough weight cut, you know, but even through that, even through, you know, the anxiety and the fear in the weight cut, like you still managed to stay calm. We stayed calm as a team.
Yeah.
And even with the fear going in there, you know, knowing like, you know, maybe you had been concussed during training or something was off, like you still had so much composure in the cage. And then when you finished the fight, you know, it showed an evolution in a short amount of time as a martial artist.
Yeah.
And I think that just is a tribute to your ability to adapt, you know, your ability to correct and just become a better martial artist every day. So
yeah, it's kind of wild to me, like how drastically different a fight camp can be. You know, and that one specifically, like you mentioned, like going into like pretty much a week and a half before the fight, I started feeling like weird brain fog and just I just felt off completely. My body felt off, my mind felt off, like everything. So I really had to like tap like almost like deep inside my soul and like find like this zen part of me, because most people don't know, but I mean during the weight cut I was telling Elias like we were considering not fighting the next day. Yeah, we were considering not even doing the fight just because of my health and how I felt, and I was having like an anxiety attack that night of the weight cut, and we decided to cut it early. And they were like, I just went to bed and decided like, okay, if we wake up feeling all right, we're gonna go through with the weight cut, and then we're gonna fight this guy and weigh in, you know. And so I woke up and I felt decent, and also not to mention like it gave me some peace of mind because all like the cognitive and neurological tests throughout the week that they do for fighters, like I passed them with flying colors. Even the guy even said like I was the best he'd seen that whole week.
yeah.
And so that kind of gave me some reassurance. Obviously, I still didn't feel well, but I woke up and I was like, we put so much time and effort specifically for that camp. It was so hard and grueling and just all the, like that was the motto of the camp. Just, I walked out to the song "No Easy Way Out," the Rocky song, because I was like,
Oh, so good.
that's the motto of the camp. There was no easy way taken in this camp, like no matter what. So it was just a very fitting song, and yeah, I mean, it ended up being worth it. But I definitely had to tap into like a zen part of me where I was just focused only on, you know, being the best martial artist I could be in there.
Yeah.
And then this like kind of after the fight, there was like an overwhelming feeling of emotions just through that fight week and what we were dealing with all together. But that's kind of what makes those memories, you know.
Is that outside? Yeah. Can you just bring him in?
But, yeah, that's part of what just makes some good memories within those fight camps, you know.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. Seeing how you evolve as a human being, how you change. I mean, every fight camp is different because you're preparing for a different person. It's a totally different battle, you know, and a mental battle as well, because every person, every opponent poses a different issue or a different problem or a set of skills that, you know, you have to prepare for. And so you train differently, you think differently, you have different fears, you know, different ways in which you play out the fight. And so there's so much change happening during a training camp.
Yeah.
And yeah, to get to the end of it relatively unscathed, you know, is awesome. But you take your licks in training, you know.
Yeah.
You're going to take probably more of the damage in training than you do in the fight, hopefully.
What do you think? I mean, mindset wise, I mean, I see you training for this stuff, and it seems so foreign to me because I'm nowhere near wanting to be a professional fighter. But there are a lot of people at ALLGROUND that are, you know, signed up for, you know, essentially competition training. Mm-hmm. What kind of mindset would you recommend those people have just kind of getting into maybe entering their first BJJ competition?
Well, I think for jiu-jitsu specifically, because like it is more of a sport. It's not a real fight. You're not getting punched in the head. You know, you don't have to worry about like taking a shin, which is like a baseball bat, straight to your dome.
Right.
So I think the more you can just like treat it as not a big deal, the better off you are. Because especially at the beginning when you're a white belt, like all of these tournaments, nothing really matters.
Yeah.
The fact that you're signing up for them is great enough. And the only thing that Laird and I care about as coaches is that you go out there and try your best, you know, whatever that is. And of course, we also want you to prepare your best, because we don't want people coming out and then just gassing, you know, which can happen because of adrenaline.
Right.
But, you know, preparation is ultimately going to be the determining factor in whether or not you win, you know, or podium. So, yeah, I think we just want to see people show up and prepare. You know, if you want to compete, the best thing you can do is show up consistently and have no excuses about a schedule. Just and let Laird and I know, or let yourself know. Be like, I am going to show up Monday, Wednesday, Friday. I'm going to run on these days. And that's what I'm going to do until the day of the tournament. And if you do that, that's so much more than a lot of people entering their first jiu-jitsu tournament will do. And you will be proud. You will see yourself change. You will see yourself grow as a human being. And then you'll get to compete and experience a level of combat that a lot of people don't get to experience in this day and age. You know, their primal self. You know,
like you said, like just showing up.
Yeah,
I feel like so many coaches, like at jiu-jitsu gyms, they just want to get numbers out there.
Yeah.
You know, and for me, that, like, for us, I don't think that's as important. Like, I'll have people hit me up like, hey, there's a competition in a week. Like, I was thinking about signing up for it. What do you think? And I'm like, okay, you're the same person that only showed up to one class for the past 2 weeks, you know? And now all of a sudden you're asking me to compete. I'm like, no, I want to see, first of all, like, sure, you can compete and gain that experience, but I want it to be worth it to you.
Yeah.
Right? Like, when you compete, you want to feel like, oh, I'm ready, I'm here. Even maybe your aspirations aren't to be like a extremely high level jiu-jitsu athlete, but you're probably going to want to win, right? I mean, you go into a competition and you want to have success, right? You want to have a little bit in the back of your mind. You're like, oh man, I hope I win this match. But that's the thing, is if you're not preparing or showing up, that's all it will be, is just a hope, right?
Yeah.
No, it's kind of true, because that's all you can do, is you can put it on in hope. You can say, oh, I hope I can win this. But when you prepare, and you prepare really well,
start to believe.
You start to believe it. You start to believe, like, oh, I'll win this tournament. I think I could beat these guys, you know, because I have confidence in the preparation I put in. I showed up to every class, you know, that I could make time for. You know, I worked out outside of this, whatever. But you'll go into that competition feeling way better about the pending result.
Yeah.
Or the possible result.
In school, whenever I would have like a big exam, and by the way, I guess I'm outing myself as somebody that did in fact go to college. if any of you haven't answered that yet. But whenever I'd have a big exam, just high school. I always look at the exam as my reward for having prepared. You know, like, so people dread exams. I look forward to them if I did the work. You know, if I studied, properly prepared, and I know I did everything I could to be ready, then that's the reward. And I feel like a competition like BJJ or MMA should kind of be like that. It should essentially be your reward for the preparation you put in. And you have to earn it. Like, you don't get to just go do that.
Yeah.
You have to earn the right to compete, earn the right to take a test.
Yeah. No, I agree completely. I think, I don't know what it is, but I feel like people are so eager. And I could say this for myself too. When I was an amateur and I was fighting in the amateur rankings, I was so eager to just fight all the time. But really, like, just put an emphasis on getting better, like showing up to the gym.
Yeah.
Like, the competition can happen. You know, there will always be competitions available. Just put an emphasis on, am I getting better every day? Am I doing everything in my power to be a better martial artist, you know? And then the competition will come. But yeah, I agree with you completely. The dog's going crazy.
Yeah. Yeah, that was insane.
They add a little flavor to the show.
Yeah, right. A little honesty.
I'm not even sure if people can hear their
I'm sure
barking.
they can hear him a little
Maybe
bit.
just a little bit.
If that was pretty loud. But we got it all under control now.
Yeah. Actually, let's do this in the comments. Based on Elias and I's looks, what kind of dog do we have? If you already know, don't guess. But based on our looks, because don't they say dogs?
Yeah,
or
people
like,
start to look like their dogs.
Yeah, or like dogs look like their owners. They resemble their owners.
Yeah.
You know, energy level too.
Yeah.
Like I feel like you and Burger are very much matching.
Yeah, anxious energy.
Just always the need to do something.
Yeah.
Even if you don't really know what, you just want to do something.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, you and Boji are super similar too.
Yeah.
So similar.
Weird, freaky, strange.
Horny all the time.
It just wants to hump and pee on everything.
Just can't stop. Everything is mine.
Can't stop, won't stop.
Anyways,
about-
what else happened?
Thanksgiving.
Yeah, Thanksgiving.
Thanksgiving happened.
Thanksgiving was cool.
I kind of want to talk about Margot. I mean,
Yeah, I was gonna ask you
I mean,
about
like,
Yeah. Yeah, Margot
sorry, yeah.
Margot Ciccarelli was here. And if you guys don't know who she is, she's one of the best, grapplers on the planet right now.
One of the best
yeah.
grapplers on the planet.
Yeah, top 5 ranked
Yeah.
in flow grappling in her division. Yeah, and just an all-around awesome human being as well. Her and her partner Carissa were here together.
Yeah, shout out Carissa for just being so loving and kind.
Yeah, the
such a great.
coolest.
I mean, they're both just amazing.
Yeah, they both have such a incredible energy and aura, and you're just like stoked to be around them. Not to mention training with them and being around them in the jiu-jitsu realm, because Margot is like straight up a genius in a lot of ways. Just
Yeah.
like the way she thinks about jiu-jitsu, and applies it, and is also able to teach it,
Yeah.
and articulate a lot of the concepts
Yeah.
that that she's implementing in her own practice. And that was so cool because I'd never actually taken a class with her or anything like that. And so when she taught a class at ALLGROUND, it was so cool, man. And she said at one point, like after explaining a move, she was like, and that's the TED Talk. We kind of laughed about it, but it sort of was like a jiu-jitsu TED Talk.
Yeah. Yeah.
Which I thought was so cool. The way she broke down the technique, talked about the ideas, talked about the concepts, the principles behind everything that she's doing. And it was inspiring as an instructor, as a martial artist, because you can tell that she embraces jiu-jitsu. She embraces the whole, it's a part of who she is. When she's chilling here, she's watching a lot of instructionals and a lot of jiu-jitsu, and then she's, she relates a lot of things to it, and then just has such a fluidity about herself when she's on the mats. Like it just seems like everything comes so naturally.
Yeah, she was so detail oriented in the way she taught, and also she just did such a good job at explaining the same way to different learning styles, right? Explaining the same thing to different learning styles, because everyone learns and takes in information a little differently, and I feel like Margot did such a good job at visually explaining with her words, just there was so many different ways that she kind of made it easier from a white belt to a blue to purple, brown, black to kind of understand this sequence, right? Or this move set. And that also brings me to the point of just her berimbolo. You can tell that she has mastered it.
Yeah.
She has mastered it.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously, at the high level, doing any move to another elite level grappler is going to be hard, but she can apply that move to any position, I feel like, and figure out how to make it work, or how to have that berimbolo transition from any sort of position, because she's just studied it so many different ways for so long that now it's kind of
for those listening who don't
waking
know
up
what a
in the morning.
berimbolo is, it's a technique in jiu-jitsu.
Kind of a back attack system, but also
think she
it can
called
put
it-
you in many different positions.
Yeah, I think her definition was did she say a shortcut to the back?
Yeah.
That was ultimately what the berimbolo is. I think maybe she said that. I don't want to misquote her. But yeah, super cool. Yeah, super inspiring from instructor's perspective.
I think you can tell too why she's world class. Like just hanging out with her, just getting to spend time with her from like the first time we met her to in between that. Like she always makes time in her day to like practice something. You know, whether it's jujitsu or
multiple times a day.
Yeah, multiple times. Yeah. And like even time, like I gave her my key and we would walk in and she would be there, you know, working or doing something like, so it's just cool to see, like, I mean, you and I get that from ourselves, but it's cool to see other elite levels of like athletes and their passion and just drive and obsession for being good. And she's also just a super chill person. I feel like a lot of people get this, like, when they see someone that's that obsessed with something, they kind of feel like, oh man, I probably wouldn't be like too close with them because they're probably just like so.
Yeah, all they talk about is jiu-jitsu or something.
So obsessive, but she's just like very chill. Yeah, it's easy to talk to both of them, honestly.
For sure. Yeah. I think that's kind of why we clicked when they were visiting, because it was just it was like we were talking to friends that we've known for a long time.
Exactly.
And at this point, they totally Margot and Carissa definitely feel like family, and super excited to have them back or go, see them.
How big of a treat was it for you guys though to actually be able to attend a class and be taught?
Yeah, that's awesome. I mean, I love it. I love coaching. I absolutely love coaching. It's so gratifying, so much fun. But I also just love being a student and being able to like drill and really dive deep into a technique that someone else is teaching, especially like an elite level coach like her. Like, and she's not even necessarily a coach. She doesn't coach full time, but she has proved that she can do it very, very high level.
Yeah, for me too. I love being coached, I love learning new techniques or like adaptations of the technique, different adaptations, because we've done a lot of jiu-jitsu in our life, but I still feel like I learn a different grip sequence, or a way in which to place your ankle that's gonna, make the technique smoother. So all those little microscopic details, I always look for in a high level coach. And I was super stoked when she was breaking it down, because I was like, wow, there's so many concepts here that I didn't even think about, when I'm applying this move. But it's so cool.
Down to the microscopic detail. We say that a lot. I feel like we should tell people where we got that. I mean, because our dad was watching like a video on these, I think it was a SEAL, like part of SEAL Team 6 or something like that. And he was saying, like, when you go into combat where it's actual life or death, like, you need to make sure everything is dialed down to the microscopic detail.
Yeah.
Right?
I think it was something about, strategizing the mission.
Yeah.
So whatever the mission is, like, you have to go over it over and over and over until you understand everything down to the microscopic detail.
And this was way back when we were in high school that he started saying this to us. And he's like, you need to apply this to your training. Like it doesn't need to just be good. Like you should be dialing things down to the microscopic detail, right? Think about it in a more, you can actually apply it. Obviously, like those guys are going to war. It's a life or death. They can make one mistake and be dead, or your partner can be dead. And that's the scary thing about it. And that's that's the reason. And that's the mindset that they prepare down to the microscopic detail. And so just applying that little bit of mentality to our martial arts and just everything, even teaching or running a business or doing that. Like that's something we always have to remind ourselves. Like if you're going to do it down to the microscopic detail,
Yeah. One thing I really like is how you guys always emphasize the details. Like today when we were, working on the scissor sweep from full guard, you were emphasizing getting that hand deep into the collar instead of down low. Yeah. And what I find is that when I listen to you and actually focus on those little details, like getting the knee up high on the scissor sweep instead of having it down low and getting that deep collar grab, those little things, the move of the day is actually attainable when I roll with other, white belts and usually not blue belts. They still beat me up, but with other white belts, I can a lot of times pull off the move because those details matter so much. Yeah. And it's like, you can learn the gross motor movement of a sweep or a takedown or something. But if you miss the details, then it just doesn't work when you try to really use it.
Yeah.
You just get beat. You're like, this doesn't work. No, it's not that it doesn't work. It's that you did it wrong.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The details matter so much.
Yeah,
So
for sure.
much.
I think Laird and I are both lucky to have had, so many amazing coaches over the year, and so many inspiring coaches and people that have influenced our instruction. The way we break things down as teachers. I mean, we started with Dad, and he was pretty hypercritical, like when we would teach, because he would make sure that we're not missing like super key details. And so he would pull us aside after we taught something. And this is when we were like 16, 17, trying to teach part of the class or whatnot. But he would pull us aside and be like, you forgot this, and this is why this is important. And that was really important for us. And then we got the opportunity to learn from a lot of different coaches who were very detailed. But I think, and I'm sure Laird could agree with this, but the epitome of teaching and applying to the microscopic detail would be like someone like Kyle Terra, and we trained with him in San Jose. He's got his academy, Kyle Terra Academy in San Jose. And he, like, even if you have your hand 2 inches from where it's supposed to be in a grip, like, he will notice and he will scold you for it.
Yeah, it's very hardcore as a coach, especially to his competition team.
Yeah.
But he's got some of the best athletes in the world. I mean, Yuri Samoas, Mason Fowler.
And him himself, 11 or 12-time world champion.
Kyle's just one of those jiu-jitsu geniuses.
Yeah, for sure.
Really, because I always say, like, for myself, I won't teach things that I haven't studied, or can confidently do myself. Like, I typically stray away from that. And that's also the great thing about you and I, like, being coaches and coaching at the same time, is because we both have different styles of jiu-jitsu, many of which, like, we do the same things, but we also do things, like, very, very different.
Yeah.
And we have different looks. But the thing about Kaio is I feel like even if he doesn't do it in his jiu-jitsu, he knows how to teach it at the highest level.
Yeah.
I feel like he can look at something and just break it down. If it's jiu-jitsu related, he can see it and break it down and make it just, it's actually pretty incredible. Yeah. What he can do. He's definitely, people call him a wizard, and I agree. He's a jiu-jitsu wizard.
Yeah, it's cool. It's cool to be around people like that.
Yeah.
That's what inspires me as a coach and as an athlete.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like, when people take things that seriously, like, they have invested their heart and soul into what they're doing.
Yeah.
And that's cool. That's inspiring to me, especially as a student. You're like, that's who I want to learn from.
Yeah.
I want to learn from people that have invested their entire being into this.
Yeah. And sorry, go ahead.
Well, I was going to say, speaking of teaching, is it too early to talk about All Ground Online?
A little bit too early.
It's out there.
Yeah.
It's out there.
Yeah.
It is on our website, but
Yeah, it's a teaser right now, though.
Yeah.
All Ground Online is a teaser. But Laird and I, the ultimate goal, for All Ground is not just a brick and mortar jiu-jitsu academy in Reno. All Ground is a brand, that Laird and I believe in, and it signifies, martial arts and the martial arts lifestyle and things things of that nature. So yeah, we're ultimately going to try and break into the online sphere, which is going to be All Ground Online, and maybe some other cool things down the road. That we've got some plans for with All Ground specifically. But just like in martial arts, we're trying to grow, trying to evolve.
Yeah. Just be ready.
Yeah.
Just be ready.
It's coming.
This is episode 7. Be
It
ready.
is coming. Winter is coming.
Yeah, winter is here.
The world.
It's just two brothers fighting grandmas from space.
I think it's funny that I think the first day I ever came in to All Ground, I think the first thing we did was like stand up hand fighting. And I'm like, All Ground?
Yeah.
What's up with that? Liars.
Yeah. I mean, I just
we're
feel
all
like
grounded, man.
Yeah, we're all grounded, and jiu-jitsu is typically a grappling art or a grounded art.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, it's just a multi-brandable slogan or name, right? Name. It's just like, able to cross many platforms.
Yeah.
And we're excited to do so. I mean, Elias and I just don't want to we want to make it bigger than jiu-jitsu. You know, I think that's always kind of been the goal, is just making all ground bigger than jiu-jitsu. Obviously, like, jiu-jitsu is our passion. That's the start, but making it even bigger than that. I mean, that's always been the goal anyway, to just like transcend the sport. If you can do something that kind of transcends the sport of jiu-jitsu itself, like, that'd be amazing. But high goals.
Yeah.
What about the first book club meeting?
Yeah, we did the All Ground Book Club, where we were reading the Book of Five Rings, and we had our first official book club meeting November 26th or 27th, I believe. It was the day before Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
So, and that was cool. You know, that was really cool to talk with some of the students after the 6 a.m. class and chat about the Book of Five Rings, Miyamoto Musashi, the lessons that are in that book, and then see how they pertain to our martial arts practice, us as individuals. It was just cool. It was exactly what I wanted when we started first talking about the book club, was just, you know, a group of people that have like a passion for allowing like the martial arts lifestyle and the martial arts practice principles to influence, you know, our lives even deeper. Because I think there's just so much that we can learn from great martial artists and great philosophers and people like Miyamoto Musashi. Mm-hmm. And then the fact that we can talk about it is even cooler. So
yeah, I think when like people, I mean, martial artists specifically, when I look at them and see that they like follow things like that, like other, I wouldn't say Musashi is obscure, but I'd say he's like slightly in the martial arts community. Like, not many people know much about him. Mm-hmm. But I think, when you look into like other martial artists from different eras and like kind of study their ways, like, I mean, two examples are just like Musashi or Sun Tzu, you know, like
The Art of War.
Yeah. And you study their ways, even if it's not applying directly to jiu-jitsu. There's a lot of things that they applied to their life or to their practice, or even if it's like a military skill, you know, you can apply that. You can take those readings or those words and kind of apply it to your martial arts in a way, you know? I actually think that, like, I remember when I was fighting one of my amateur opponents, I think it was possibly the first or second guy I was supposed to fight. Second. The fight didn't end up going through. I had 3 amateur fights and all 3 opponent changes. But the second one, I remember I was supposed to fight this guy. And at the time, I think Facebook was still, you know, fairly big. So I like looked into his name on Facebook. And I saw that he followed Miyamoto Musashi on Facebook. Like, and so I was like
liked it. Like,
liked the page. And I was like, oh shit, this fight might be harder than I thought. Like, instantly, as soon as I saw that, I was like, wait, this guy might be legit.
Yeah, this guy might
He's
be
following
way
Miyamoto Musashi. He obviously cares deeply about his martial arts.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
So, yeah, instantly when I saw that, I was like, gotta fucking prepare hard.
Gotta train my
Which is so
ass
funny
off.
because I'm like, has nothing to do with his skill as a martial artist, but just knowing that he's like thinking about it like that.
Yeah.
You know, or studying like different martial artists.
Yeah.
From that time frame kind of just gave me this idea in my head that like, oh, this guy's going to be tough. Like, he is going to be a legit martial artist.
Yeah.
Wish I could have fought him. That was a bummer.
Wait. Oh, who was that?
So he was one of the guys from Santa Cruz. I forget his name, but it was a long time ago.
I remember who you're talking about.
Yeah. And he was also doing
He's
like
the
the
155er.
plyometric. Yeah. But he was doing a lot of like strange workouts, a lot of like explosive, fast twitch workouts.
Yeah.
You know, where you're like bouncing your heels on like a medicine ball as fast as you can. You know, but yeah, I was getting excited for that fight. You know, I was like, oh shit,
really bringing the best out of you.
And at that time, I wasn't like as confident in my skill as a martial artist. I wasn't like completely like. I guess I still had this like thought in my mind that, you know, I wasn't necessarily as good as I maybe put myself out to be.
Yeah.
You know, and so there was definitely
imposter
that
syndrome going on.
Yeah, I guess so. And then in that moment when I saw that, I was like, fuck, this might be hard. I started getting way more nervous about the fight, just from seeing that Musashi thing. It's so funny. But yeah, nowadays it's like, that's kind of what I seek. Like, I love being scared. Like, I love having that fear of like, this guy is kind of scary. And I think that brings out the best in you.
Yeah.
I remember Kyle Crutchmer telling me about this. Actually, do you know the guy that was doing the burpees to jumps?
Yeah. In Chicago.
Yeah. So Kyle Crutchmer fought him
a
a while back, but that guy knocked out everyone before Kyle Crutchmer.
Yeah.
Knocked out everyone he beat.
Yeah.
All right. So everyone he won against, he knocked him out.
Yeah.
And so Kyle Crutchmer, like, it was one of his best performances. I went back and watched that fight, and he just destroyed him. And I think partially was like, he was telling me when we were in Connecticut, he was like, I was so scared to fight that guy because he just hits like a fucking truck, and knocks people out. But yeah, so I think when you're like, have that fear, it just makes you better.
Motivates
it makes you better.
Yeah. It's funny. We were talking about that before the podcast. We were talking about like, is fear the ultimate motivator? And I think so, honestly. I think it is. Like, when you have a fire underneath you or a task in front of you that seems like almost too scary to like get through, then you're super motivated, especially when you have to do it. You're like, I just have to fucking prepare. Like, I can't back out. I can't quit. And as fighters, I mean, if you're a really dedicated fighter, like, names come across, right? Or tournaments come about where you almost you're not sure if you're ready, but you're not going to say no to it. And so the only choice is to rise to the occasion. Yeah. And you're going to face people. You're like, am I ready for this person? But it doesn't matter at that point. Once you've accepted it, if you say yes to it, then something within you is like, I can rise. Yeah. I can rise to the occasion here, and I can defeat this person.
I also think when you like face a fear, it's super empowering. So when you're like stepping into that cage against someone, like, there's no turning back. Once the cage door closes, I mean, some people, it might break them. The pressure might get to them. They might, fall flat to that. But I feel like when that cage door closes and like, all right, there's no going. I can't escape. I have to fight this guy. Yeah. Then there's like this rage and empowerment that goes through you, and you're like, I'm gonna fucking beat him no matter what. Yeah. And then you just feel stronger. And I think like tenacity goes a long way in sports, especially in MMA. Like, even if you're not the most technical, like, being fucking tenacious and violent and going for shit is like super helpful. I mean, a good example is Cade Ruotolo. Yeah. In MMA, and like, he's not necessarily at the same skill level, striking wise, as some of these guys, but he's super fucking tenacious. And when he goes out there, he's like, I'm going to hurt this guy. Yeah. Like, I want to hurt this guy bad. Yeah. And it always ends up working out for him, because I think people kind of crumble to that. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I think you have to fully lean into that fear for sure. Yeah. Like, just grit your teeth and almost go kind of demon mode on it. Like, when when you're going demon mode in training, like, I feel that a lot of time when I'm really like preparing for something. Like, I just feel something almost dark come over. Yeah. Because you feel like you have to put yourself in that space. You feel like you can't just like, you can't think rationally. You can't think like, oh, maybe you can't think there's a back door or there's a way out. Yeah. You just have to go.
There's no easy way out.
Yeah. No easy way out. You just have to go through the fire. Yeah. And like, if you're afraid of, violence or a violent fight, then somehow you have to convince yourself that you're just going to have the most violent fight and just be okay with it. Yeah. You're just like, I want the most violent. I want the most bloody, gruesome fight. I want that. Yeah. And then when you think about that so much, it's like, you start to overcome that fear before the fight even begins. Yeah. And you start to visualize it so much that if it happens, you're like, I've put myself here so many times. I've put myself in this position thousands of times in my head. Yeah. And like, here it is now. And I'm going to rise. Absolutely. I'm not afraid.
Absolutely. And I mean, you specifically have been in two very tough fights, one against your first one against Hyder Emil, not even in your weight class. Actually, both of your fights were not even in the weight class that you should be fighting. You had to do a catch weight for both those guys.
Yeah.
But yeah, you've kind of gone through the deepest darkness in a fight you can go through, and you've proved to me and everyone that you're just, if you know, one thing's for sure, you got that fucking dog. You know, you got that dog in you.
Like
Yeah.
the dog.
There ain't no heart in there. It's a dog.
Yeah, man.
No, but yeah, I think that's kind of like, that's one thing you can, I think you can make people stronger mentally, but to face adversity like that when you're fucking orbital, your nose is broken,
Yeah.
you know, your eyes are swollen shut, and you're just going back to the corner, and within that minute, you're like, I'm still going to go out there and beat this guy,
Yeah.
you know, and there's not a breaking moment. Like, that's what you look for. If you're a coach, like, that's what you want, you know, no matter what.
Yeah.
I think that's even more important than seeing, I think for us, like me, you, and Dad, like seeing that was probably more beneficial and important to us than just seeing you win an easy fight,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah. Yeah, I think that, you know, they always say, like, you can't teach heart. And I do believe that. I think you can push someone, you know, to the point where they can build heart in a lot of ways.
Yeah.
But I think it comes down to the individual. And I remember, you know, a lot growing up, just like being so scared. I think I just put so much pressure on myself, you know, just to like always win. So just the thought of losing, like, it like crippled me. And you know, having those breaking moments, I felt like I didn't rise to the occasion in training in a lot of ways. And especially something that like that mental toughness, that fortitude seemed to like come more natural to Laird. And I just remember having breaking points and just thinking like, just stewing in it for weeks, just thinking like, man, like I want to be stronger, you know, I want to be stronger mentally. And that's sort of going back to that demon mode, just leaning into that fear of the violence, or leaning into losing, and just giving it my all no matter what. And just at the end of the day, being proud of what I did, you know, and not holding back. Because I remember in that first fight, my orbital was broken, my nose was broken, my eyes was so swollen. And doctors like, you know, asking me if I want to continue. They're doing like the eye test. I'm trying to pass it. And the whole time I'm thinking like, wow, I'm in so much fucking pain. Like I'm in, like my head hurts, my face hurts. Like my adrenaline was through the roof. My heart felt like it was going to beat out of my chest. But I just remember thinking like, man, if I die, I die. Like I don't want to be.
If he dies, he dies.
I don't want to be a quitter. You know, I'm tired of fucking being a quitter.
It's kind of true though. Like you kind of go into that point where like, if you're in a fight like that, you no longer, it's like this primal thing. Like it's very, very primal, and very few people will ever get to experience this. But you almost, and I think people will hear you say that and think like, oh, that's, yeah, a lot of people say that, or like, oh, that's an analogy. But I think it's really true. Like there's moments where you're just thinking like, you don't know what's wrong with you. You could be fucking hemorrhaging for your head, but you're still telling the doctor that you want to fight.
Yeah.
You know, and I think it's just like, yeah, I am willing to die in there. People say that, but I think there's actually people that believe that in the moment.
Yeah.
You know?
No. That was the only time like or to that point in my life where I felt like, oh, I could die, and just, kind of accepted it, you know? Cause I was like, I'm already this far. Yeah. If my brain is already bleeding at this point, like what's the point in stopping now?
And it's not even necessarily that you're thinking about that.
Yeah.
It's not like the doctor went up to you and you're like, oh, what could be all the things that are wrong with me right now?
No, I'm just thinking
you just
about,
think like,
I
I
have
got to
to get
beat this
back in
guy.
there.
Yeah, I got to fight this guy and win.
Which is crazy because it is the entertainment business. Like we're entertaining. It's not an actual fight to the death.
Right.
Yeah.
But that's what it felt like to me. You know, it felt like I have to go out there. You know, I have to go out there and defend my honor, and everyone behind me and everyone that believes in me. You know, they're watching me right now, and I'm an example. You know, and I'm either gonna quit or I'm gonna show up and try to fucking kill this guy.
Yeah, that's crazy.
It's interesting that that's like the growth mindset versus the fixed mindset, you know, where the fixed mindset, you would run away from challenges because you don't want to be exposed. You know, like if you're like, I could lose, I don't want to do it. Whereas a growth mindset is like, I could lose, that makes it worth doing. This is where I can become better. And honestly, if you have that mindset, you can go into a fight like that and you can lose the fight, but you still got tons of benefit from it. You became a better fighter. You became a better person.
Yeah. That's why it's, crazy. Not crazy, but I find it interesting. Like when people talk to me and say like, oh, I want to be a fighter. I want to fight professionally. And like, I think and recall our experiences. I'm just like, but do you fucking really? But do you really? You gotta, I don't want you just telling me. There's so much. Like a fighter is just deep down in their heart,
Yeah.
And like, I think you see that at the highest level. Like the only time you see stuff like that is at the highest level. And like, I think a good example of that also is like Petr Yan. Obviously like he got beat up pretty bad by Marab. Supposedly he was injured, but he just fought Davison Figueiredo, who was a flyweight champion. He was 5-0 at bantamweight against title contenders.
Yeah.
And Petr Yan fought him 8 months after ACL surgery. 8 months after ACL surgery. They tell you not even to get back to sport until 9 to 12 months.
Right.
Yeah.
And like obviously every ACL surgery is different, but like could have been a cadaver, a synthetic, could have been, hamstring tendon, patellar tendon, but and that'll increase or decrease your recovery time depending. But it kind of means that he was in fight camp 6 months after ACL surgery, which to me is just fucking crazy. Like knowing my surgery, and I know Tina would be probably mad at me right now. I'm not comparing, babe. I swear. Everyone's different. I get it. But I still think it's madly impressive and shows the type of fighter he is,
Yeah, true.
To just be like, oh, no, I just want to be better. I want to come back from this and be better. And I'm going to fight a fucking champion, in my fight back after ACL surgery, and I'm going to win.
Yeah.
And he did.
Yeah. And I think you don't have to compare yourself, but you can use that as fuel to your fire.
Yeah.
You can be like, if he did it, then I can recover quicker. I can focus on what I need to so that I can get back and have another breakout performance, just always having that belief. And that ultimately you have to have that like optimistic mindset if you want to be the best in the world, because you are going to fall, you are going to face adversity, whether it's a loss or adversity in the training room, adversity with your own mind, your body giving out on you. And you have to be optimistic. You have to be like, I will come back and I will win. Mm-hmm. And that's what a champion is. I was thinking about, speaking of like, that's what a champion is. I heard a Muhammad Ali quote the other day, and I completely forgot that we had that Muhammad Ali poster in our room growing up as little kids. And I don't even remember life without that Muhammad Ali poster. But do you remember that?
Of course.
That
of course.
quote?
I could probably recite it. I think.
I was trying to remember it too because we haven't seen that poster in so long. But champions aren't
made in the gym. Champions are made by something deep inside them, a desire, a dream, a vision.
Yeah.
Right? Something like that.
Yeah. That's pretty much exactly it. But I just thought that was so cool. It's just to remember that and just to look at that as a little kid. We were looking at that every day. Champions aren't made in gyms. Yeah. Champions are made from something they have deep inside them.
Yeah.
Desire, dream, vision, and just
another Muhammad Ali quote that just kind of goes along with what we've been talking about is he said, to be great, you got to have the skill and the will, but the will must be far stronger than the skill.
Yeah.
You know?
So cool. Yeah. That's true. One more quote and then maybe we could wrap it up, but I wanted to get your take and even you as well, Ty, on this. But Teddy Atlas says fighting is 20% physical, 80% mental. I think that's one of his famous quotes. I'm almost certain that's it. That's the quote.
Yeah.
But do you take that literally? Do you take that as a metaphor? What are your thoughts on that?
I think if you encompass fighting as a whole, like not just in the cage, but from the training all the way up until after the fight, I think, yes, I would probably agree with that. Yeah. Just from training camp, from even outside of training camp, right? If you want to be the best in the world, it's not like when you're done with training camp, you're like, all right, well, I'm not thinking about fighting or training or doing anything anymore until I get another fight. It's constantly on your mind.
Yeah.
And so, I'd say, if you think about fighting as a whole rather than just the fight in the cage, then I'd agree I'd agree. Yeah.
Yeah.
But
I agree. I mean, you think about what's the hardest part of any training session?
Like
What I mean, if you get up out of bed in the morning, what is the hardest part of any training session?
showing up.
Showing up.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
that's all mental.
yeah.
If you show up, you know you're going to get it done. You're going to get after it.
Yeah.
But you have to show up, and that is so hard.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's
for
true.
sure.
To tie it all together, though, I did want to say, we keep talking about being the best in the world, being a champion and stuff. But for mortals like me, we look at you guys high-level fighters, and yeah, it is the entertainment industry, but it's also the inspiration industry. You look at people that are willing to like put their hearts out there and put everything into something and just trying to better themselves, better their craft. And so I look at that and I'm like, man, if Laird can do that, then I can show up to jiu-jitsu at 6 a.m.,
Yeah.
And actually your mom, when she came over and did the cold plunge, she said when she got in the cold plunge, you remember what she said her motivation was?
I wasn't there when she did it with you
Oh
guys.
yeah,
but
she came over with Laird. That's right. But she said, she goes, when I got in the cold plunge, I said to myself, if my sons can go out and get in the cage and fight, I can get in this cold water, right?
Yeah.
And you guys probably underestimate how inspiring, your performances out there are, win or lose. Like it is really hard to get in a cage with somebody that wants to hurt you.
Yeah. Well, to talk against your mortality thing. I mean, you're also you're motivating us, and we're the professional athletes, but there's many times where you're telling us to get in the gym, telling us to be there at freaking 5:30 for the run, for the sauna, for the cold plunge, and so it's not like being the world's best fighter, but you're still applying that same sort of thing to, I don't know, being a dad, being a husband, being, just your daily life. So I think it's just whatever you apply it to, but you're doing the same practice like a world champion would be doing, but applying it to your daily life, so.
Yeah. Well, hopefully it inspires you. Like you're probably thinking something like, if this fat, weak old man can show up and work out, I can too. I'm supposed to be a professional athlete.
Yeah.
Is Ty fat, weak, and old?
It really depends on what you compare me to.
Answer correct and get a free all ground hat.
While supplies last.
Yeah.
I kind of want to,
Yeah.
I don't know if you had anything else, but I kind of wanted to just go over the fights.
Oh,
These
okay.
upcoming fights, because I think they're pretty dang good.
Yeah, I was just gonna conclude that,
Yeah, go ahead.
with I'm really
shit.
excited for the people around us right now, because we're at All Ground. We've got a whole different community around us,
Yeah.
and I think this is the best community ever. I just feel like we have so many inspiring, people around us, people that I look up to, and I couldn't be more grateful. But I'm very excited for all of those people to see you back in the cage, to see me back in the cage, or just doing whatever's next, whether it's jiu-jitsu or MMA, but definitely to see you come back from the injury and do what you're meant to do, which is take people down and smash them
And make them
Smash
bleed.
their face.
Make them
and walk
tight.
out with a pocket full of cash. Anyways,
All right.
the fights.
Okay. I'm just going to go over a couple that I think are pretty fun.
Okay.
I mean, Nate Landwehr
Oh, wow.
versus
Best
Doo-Ho
fisherman
Choi.
in the UFC.
versus
Oh, wait,
Doo-Ho
no,
Choi.
that's
No.
no, I'm thinking of the other guy. But yeah, I remember
Nate
Nate,
Landwehr.
the guy that just
easily
screams
crazy.
on the mic.
Yeah.
yeah.
But Doo-Ho Choi, man, I remember watching him. So he's, what do they call him? The Korean Superboy or something like that?
Korean Superboy.
Yeah. Just, dude, I remember watching him when he first came onto the scene.
Oh my gosh.
And he was like this up and coming guy that was just knocking people out. I mean, his boxing was crisp. And I remember seeing him and just thinking, dude, this guy is sick.
Yeah.
Had the fight of the century against Cub Swanson.
Oh, that was insane.
Insanity. Just back and forth, dropping each other, getting back up.
Yeah.
Just going to war, taking punishment. Each of them lost that fight and then took a long layoff.
Super long. Was that his last fight?
Well, no. He fought recently. So he recently fought within the past, I think maybe even within this past year.
But it was after that fight that he took a really long layoff.
Yeah, really long. And I think his first fight back was just this past year, maybe beginning of this year. And I mean, he looked good, but it's crazy to think like seeing him then against Cub Swanson, you're like, this is the prospect. Like,
Yeah.
this is the guy that he'll probably fight Jose Aldo next.
Yeah,
It was
yeah.
Jose Aldo. You know, it's not. It wasn't freaking Max. It wasn't Volk. It
Yeah.
wasn't Connor. You know, it was Jose Aldo.
Yeah.
So it's cool to see him back, and now he's the veteran, and he's just. Anyway, that's cool.
Yeah, that's super
I'm
cool.
rooting for Duho Choi. I like that guy.
Yeah.
Bryce Mitchell versus Crone Gracie.
That's really cool.
Yeah.
I mean, it might not actually be
finally-
cool when they fight, but on paper it sounds really
Yeah.
cool because they're both super legit grapplers with not the most amazing like boxing or stand-up game at all.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess you could say Crone's got some decent
Crone's
boxing.
got some decent boxing,
Yeah.
but I feel like he's just so hard-headed, like with the way he does things.
Yeah.
I mean, like, if the guy just learned how to wrestle a little bit,
Yeah.
he would be so fucking dangerous.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
And-
Because he
and-
will
and-
like jump guard. He will be clinched up with someone and just jump closed guard, and they'll put him on his back. But then he's so confident in his jiu-jitsu, he'll just like work his way to the back or work his way to a guillotine or Kimura trap or something.
And to give Ty some context, Crone Gracie is the son of Rickson Gracie, and Rickson Gracie is the greatest jiu-jitsu athlete to ever live.
Wow.
Well, let's just put it that way.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
I mean, he's the legend. He is, you know,
Yeah.
one
I mean,
of
isn't-
the best.
Jumping guard, like pretty much a no-no for most people in MMA.
Most of the time.
You would say so.
Yeah.
Yeah. You wouldn't want to, but he's so confident.
You're
in
just
his
like
jiu-jitsu.
ground and pound me, bro.
Another person that does that is Mackenzie Dern. She will just jump guard. Also a very legit jiu-jitera.
Who do you got in this, Bryce or Crone? It's a tough one to
I
say.
don't know, man.
I mean, I feel like Bryce's game is like
Yeah.
kind of take people down.
I'm
hold them
taking
down.
Crone.
Okay, Crone, ice cream Crone.
Ice cream Crone. Okay, who's next?
Okay, Shavkat and Ian Gary.
That's a really cool matchup.
This is really cool. This is really cool. And honestly, people might hate me for this, but I feel like Ian Gary's got a real shot here.
No, I agree.
Real shot.
I agree.
Like, I think people kind of look at Shavkat and think, oh man, he is just unstoppable. And he's 18-0. He's showed so far in 18 fights that he is unstoppable. Not to mention he's finished all 18 of his opponents.
Yeah.
Finished them. Whether it's a submission or knockout, TKO, whatever. He's finished 18 people in a row. Ian is also 15-0. Not finishing people as frequent, but he's good and he is fast on the outside.
Super
Really,
fast.
really fast. Like, he gets in and out very quickly. His defensive maneuvers, his striking is obviously super crisp, super clean. I think I feel like Ian can be taking away rounds here. And it can be unexpected, like going into the third or fourth round where Ian Gary's up and Shavkat is still looking to get the finish. The thing about Shavkat is he's 18-0, 18 finishes. That's all he knows.
Yeah.
The guy is gonna try to go forward and try to finish you, whether it's choke you, or punch you in the face, kick you in the head, whatever. He's gonna try to finish you.
Yeah.
I don't really know who to go for, to be honest.
I'm gonna go with Shavkat.
Shit.
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't really know, but I think he's just the more disciplined martial artist and also more well-rounded martial artist. So I just feel like I have to go with him because if I was comparing on paper, like
Yeah.
I'd be like, it seems like this guy is preparing more.
Yeah.
He's preparing for the whole game.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I don't know enough about Ian, and I also
Ian's
don't
kind
know
of a
enough-
Ronin, though.
He is.
He kind of is the masterless samurai. Like, he's like, he's going all over the place. He's trained in so many places, taking in knowledge from so many different people, and I kind of like that. I mean, I know some people will look at that and be like, oh, he's just not loyal, but I think he's just taking in knowledge from wherever he can get it, and it seems like he's kind of found his home in Brazil now, but...
I think so, but I think there was also an element of him being a bad training partner.
Yeah,
So I've
I
heard.
I've heard different things, but
Yeah,
I don't know. I think it's a close fight,
it is a close
but
fight.
it is 5 rounds, so we'll see.
I'm gonna
It
take.
sounds like you
Shavkat.
want to go Ian, but
I'm kind of leaning towards Ian. I think he can pull away rounds, and I think he's good enough to not get finished by Shavkat. And I've seen similar opponents that they've had, or mutual opponents, and I think Ian has looked a little better against those guys. Like specifically Jeff Neal.
Yeah,
Didn't get touched by Jeff Neal, I feel like.
Yeah.
And shout out to Jeff Neal. I mean, I trained with him in Dallas, and he's a fucking savage. But but he definitely showed a great fight. And I wish Jeff would just put it on people more. Every time he actually starts opening up and striking, he always has success.
Yeah.
But yeah, Ian did great in that fight.
He did. I think Shavkat is going to walk him down. I think he's going to walk him down. I think he's going to either just win more rounds. And I think if Ian doesn't have success in the first 2 rounds, I'm for sure confident in Shavkat taking the fight.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Asakura versus Alessandro Pantoja.
This is the first time. Well, maybe not the first time.
No, it is.
Yeah,
I'm pretty sure it's
the
the
very
first
first time that
someone from another organization.
Someone's first fight in the UFC
Yeah,
is for a title.
Yeah, yeah,
But that's because if you look at his record.
yeah.
You know.
Well, and he's a champion of a other organization. He was
Yeah.
the Risen champion, the Risen bantamweight champion. So he's
Yeah.
fighting at flyweight now. Look, I think let's just put this simply. You just can't go against Pantoja. I mean, the guy is a dog.
He's a juggernaut.
He is. He just goes like that. I feel like he's one of those guys. He's like, win by any means.
Yeah.
Win at all
Yeah.
costs.
Yeah.
You
Win
know?
at all costs, for
Yeah,
sure.
Yeah,
Yeah.
for sure. Like, he's just going to do it.
Yeah.
4th round, like tied up going into the 5th. He's like, I'm going to get this 5th round by any means necessary.
It's so impressive to watch because when you watch him fight in the 4th or 5th round, he's doing things that require so much energy, and you're just wondering, like, how are you not exhausted?
Yeah, but he's
How
just
are you
going.
just pushing through
Yeah,
this?
yeah.
It's
I mean,
crazy.
specifically the Brandon Moreno fight. That's when I became a fan of him, and I'm a huge fan of Brandon Moreno.
Yeah.
But I was like, dude, this guy looked dead tired coming out of the 4th round.
Yeah.
Dead tired.
Yeah.
And he was just like, nah,
Yeah, he was
I'm
like,
going.
yeah.
I don't care if I die in here. I'm like, 5th
Oh my
round, I
God.
have to take it.
yeah, I would have
was
loved to see
insane.
some heart rate metrics in that. Just some,
Yeah.
I'm sure,
Just through the roof.
or he died.
Just died for a second, came back to life.
Yeah. No, but
Yeah. No,
yeah, what a
I think we both got
zombie
Pantoja.
animal. Just
Yeah.
so cool.
I'm excited for it, but Pantoja's my pick for sure.
Yeah,
Anyway,
Cool.
I think that's it. I
Yeah.
think that covers it all. That was our longest podcast yet. So
I think so. Yeah.
good work, gentlemen.
We're edging toward that 3-hour mark.
Oh yeah. We're catching up with you, Joe Rogan. We're coming for you.
Well, he does have like an hour and a half of commercials in his, where he's like trying to sell something. So,
Yeah. Yeah. Once we start getting the sponsors, we'll add another like.
That's
15
the
minutes.
fun part is I love listening to podcasts where people find really like fun, engaging way to introduce
Yeah.
sponsors.
Yeah.
Some of them just rip it in the beginning, they're just
Yeah.
like, thank you to these people, and everybody fast forwards.
Yeah.
But I love watching people get creative
Yeah.
with ads.
yeah.
You know,
It's
I
like
don't
they
know.
try to fool you into listening to it.
Yeah.
There's a couple people that like plug some stuff that I'm like curious about. Sometimes they'll say something and I'm like, oh wait, I'm actually curious about that product.
yeah,
You know?
for sure. Yeah, like
You know, and,
naturally,
like it'll catch your ear in like the first, second of it, and you're like, I want to hear more.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
But then most of the time, I'm just skipping through.
Yeah, if you're a consistent listener to a podcast, then you're probably going to subscribe to whatever
Yeah.
the podcaster is subscribing to.
Yeah,
But yeah, it's fun. I want to find once we get there, I want to find some creative ways.
yeah, for sure, for sure. Hey, episode 8 next, boys. Episode 8 next.
Episode 8, yeah, the milestone.
The milestone.
Yeah.
Let's go.
Let's go, baby.
I'd get Ty in this, but no one can see him.
Yeah, he doesn't exist.
Yeah.
All right, y'all. Well,
Okay.
I'm glad we got our intro out of this episode.
Yeah.
That sounds good.
Good night.